Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. Today we're going to have a talk about the magical talisman of MSRP and how it really isn't that magical. And of course, this is mostly in relation to our friend professor over at Solarian Community College, who for years complained that we had no MSRP on magic products and we needed it so that it could tell us how much we were supposed to pay. You know, the first fallacy with this is that it is a manufactured suggested retail price. How many steps removed is the manufacturer from the retail transaction? Well, you have the manufacturer, then you have the distributor, then you have the retailer, and then you have the end customer, and they have the retail transaction. All the way down here, 2 steps removed from the manufacturer. So the manufacturer has no idea what goes on, what goes into setting prices, and really their incentives are not aligned in any way with the retailer and the end customer. Everyone along that chain has different incentives, different motivations, and different reasons for pricing things, for holding product, releasing product, and on and on and on. And so the idea that the manufacturer somehow is an authority on what the retail price should be is unreasonable to start with. But we're going to go into a couple of things here. And the first we're going to start with is the actual announcement back in October that Magic was bringing back MSRPs. And we're going to talk about this a little bit. Of course, they told you at the time what the MSRPs for Foundations, Innistrad Remastered, and Aether Drift would be. And we'll come back to that. You can bet on it. And then they got into a discussion of why they did this. And so one of the things they say here that I think is really funny is over the years, we've continued to hear feedback from both retailers and fans that they felt they lacked an anchor point for the pricing decisions. And absolute kudos to the Wizards of the Coast, like corporate messaging guy who wrote this. It is fantastic because he says they felt they lacked an anchor point. They didn't actually lack an anchor point because you don't need an anchor point. The market will tell you. The fact that we have places like TCG Player today are so incredible for the market because they flatten everything. They instantly connect all buyers and sellers in real time, and they tell you what the actual value of a product is. If it's a high volume product that sells very regularly, then you can simply look at the last sale price on TCG Player and you know what the actual value of the product is. By definition, that's what those words mean. And so I like that this person who wrote this article says they felt, because yeah, that's the reality. They felt they lacked an anchor point. The objective anchor point is the last completed sale. Again, assuming that a sale has completed within a reasonably recent period of time. And of course, the definition of that is a little subjective. When you're talking about new products like Innistrad and Aether Drift and Foundations, of course, you're going to have a sale within every hour on TCG Player. And so your last sale price will always be very recent. If you're talking about something like a 15-year-old Pokemon box, you might go years in between sales on TCG Player. And at that point, yeah, you don't know what the real value in the market is because there's been no recent price discovery. So I like that they put this, and it's like they're signaling that, some people feel really emotionally that they need an MSRP and they need someone to tell them what to pay instead of just letting the market tell them what the actual value is based on buyers and sellers meeting absent of any kind of coercion and clearing the market. While stores have always been able to set their own prices, proliferation of online marketplaces meant that the market price was anchored arbitrarily in many people's minds by whoever listed their prices first. And again, just absolute chef's kiss to the corporate messaging dude who wrote this, because he says something that's absolutely untrue, but he puts it out there and he puts it in such a subjective type of way that, like, the people who are obsessed with MSRP will read this and they'll feel good about it. And they'll say, oh yeah, those people, those evil people who listed products first, they absolutely set the market and they ruin it for everyone. Well, is there any data we can go look at and see if any of these expectations hold up? Well, real fast before we do that, let's look at the actual prices, because this is how we're going to evaluate whether these statements make sense and whether MSRP actually matters. Spoiler, it doesn't. Foundations, play boosters, $5.25. So Foundations still had 36 packs in the play booster box, and that would give the box an MSRP of $189. Collector boosters at 25 give that an MSRP of $300. Innistrad Remastered play boxes with boosters at 7 give a 36 pack play booster box an MSRP of $252. Collectors at 30 give an MSRP for the collector box of $360. And then for Aetherdrift, they futzed with the prices a little bit, and they changed the number of play boosters in the box down to 30. So its MSRP would have been $165, and the collector boxes, again, would have been $300 because there were still 12 booster packs. So let's go see what actually happened in relation to MSRP having some kind of magical effect on the market. And let's measure how those first people to list, let's see, what did it say? Anchored arbitrarily in many people's minds what the price should be, because they listed their prices first. So let's go find out. All right, Foundations play boxes. Again, WotC suggested retail price for this, $189. And what was that first anchoring price? $170. Well, that's below the MSRP. You can't do that. Well, and how effective was that in anchoring in everyone's mind what the price should be? Well, you can see it fell off a damn cliff there. It fell all the way down to 119, from 169 to 119. So it shed almost 30% of the price. So there really was no anchoring going on in anyone's mind here. But don't worry, we have 5 more products to look at, and we'll see just how hard those first prices anchored in anyone's mind what the value should be. And of course, the release day price of this product was about $142. What was it, $11.14 when this released? I had drilled in on the 3-month plot where you get more resolution, and it was about $142 on release day. Now again, the MSRP WotC told you this should sell at is $189. How's it selling at $142? And this is kind of one of the sad and funny things about Professor, for many years, talking about MSRP and lamenting that Magic had no MSRP. WotC gave us an MSRP, and it's well above what the market says the products are worth. So what now? I mean, is Professor supposed to pay MSRP? Is he supposed to be mad now that the MSRP is too high? Is he supposed to be mad that the market prices are too low? Is he supposed to just be confused that he got an MSRP and apparently it has no effect on the market? Which, again, spoilers, MSRP has no effect on the market, especially in highly liquid, competitive marketplaces like this. MSRP means nothing at all. And we can see what's the price today, $131. So, you know, that MSRP of $189 for Foundations collector boxes is really failing to have any effect on the market. Innistrad play booster boxes, WotC's MSRP for these was $252, and that first anchoring price point in people's minds, $210, and then, well, yeah, it fell off the cliff again, and by the time it arrested its descent, it was all the way down at $166, so it had dropped $45, about 20% of its price. And again, this original price, whoever lists first, this is not anchoring a price in anybody's mind, because the reality is you're going to have scores and hundreds of dealers on a marketplace like TCG Player who come in here and compete to sell the product. A lot of these are card stores that are on 30 or 60 or 90-day terms. They have to turn around this product to pay off the dealers so that they can keep their accounts. They can't sit here and say, oh, well, the first guy priced at $210. I'll just price at $210 and ignore what people are going to actually want to pay. Well, he's going to get undercut and the market will fight its way down. This is the TCG expansion life cycle I've been talking about on this channel for 4 years now. What did it actually sell for on release day? I believe January 24th. That was $171. And again, I've gone in and drilled down on the 1-month plot where you have better resolution, but $171, the sales price on release day. So a whole $80 below the MSRP of $252. What is MSRP doing for us here? It's not telling us anything. It's not even a signal in the market. You know, signals in the market are completed sale prices. That's a signal because it says, hey, somebody liked this price enough to buy. And the velocity and the volume of completed sales are signals because it says this is how much the wider market likes these prices. And if the velocity slows to zero, it's telling the market that, hey, the price is too high and the demand is too low at that price. The price needs to come down. Those are signals in the market. MSRP is not a signal. It's simply an imaginary made up number by an entity that has no influence or control over the actual retail to end user transaction. Moving on, Aetherdrift play boxes, MSRP of $165, that first anchoring price point in the market, $129. So again, $35 below MSRP was the first sale price, and then it came all the way down to $114. So it dropped $15. What's that, about 1/8, 12% or so? And then the release day price, well, it hasn't released yet, so the price today is about 118. So 118 compared to the MSRP of 165. Again, what is MSRP doing for us here? Nothing. But people treat it like it's some kind of magical talisman. They need WotC to tell you what you should pay at a card store that WotC doesn't own or run. It's baffling. And we'll go through the same exercise with the collector boxes. Foundations, MSRP of $300. That first anchoring point, $250. So again, MSRP had no effect on that first price point. And then the first price point, that dropped all the way to $217 from $250, again about a 12% drop or so. And the release day price on 11/14 was $307. So $307 compared to the MSRP of $300. Oh no, it's above MSRP. So was MSRP supposed to protect us from the price going over? Again, do not put any type of confidence, any type of decision making. Do not do anything except chuckle a little and move on when you see an MSRP price. MSRP does not matter to anything. And again, these are very high velocity marketplaces where buyers and sellers set the price by putting products up for sale, and then buyers choose if they want to buy them. That sets the price, and that tells you the true value of the product. Innistrad Remaster collector boxes, MSRP of $360 according to WotC. That first sale price, $324 again, and then it crashes all the way down to $293. So what was that? $31. So about 11%, 9%, sorry, that it fell from that first price. So again, that first anchoring price had no power. It did not anchor it in people's mind and tell them what they think they should pay for it. The market determined what to pay by all the sellers coming in here, being willing to undercut and accept lower profits in order to move the volume. And the release day price was $333 on, what would it have been, January 24th. Again, below the MSRP of $360. And finally, Aetherdrift collector boxes, MSRP of $300. That first price, $248, crashing down to $228. $228 was probably about the lowest it got. So it fell about 8% to its lowest. And then people realized, hey, these boxes have a ton of value. They have yet another single serialized card. They have variants that we like and other things that people have gotten really excited for and driven the price back up. Today it's $259, still $40 short of MSRP. And so I'll come back to the original. The market price was anchored arbitrarily in many people's minds by whoever listed their products first, which we've objectively just shown is not true. We took all 6 of the products that we selected out of here, the play and collector boxes for these 3 expansions, and we showed that that first market price had absolutely zero influence on arbitrarily anchoring in people's minds what they should pay for the product. It had no effect. And they felt they lacked an anchor point for their pricing decisions. Well, the anchor point provided the MSRP that is, apparently had absolutely zero effect on people's buying decisions because almost every one of these products for almost their entire lifespans have sold below the MSRP. MSRP is not a magical talisman. It's not some kind of thing that somehow you're bound to enforce or abide by. It's simply a distraction for people who do not understand markets and finance and economics. And, I love Professor. I think 95% of the time when I watch his videos, I come away entertained and informed. But his MSRP and his lack of understanding on what it is, what it actually means to market, and I hate to use a rude word here, but his failure to go back and actually look at data and say, oh, MSRP doesn't accomplish any of these things that I thought it would, is disappointing. I do love Professor otherwise. I mean, how can you not? Let me know what you think, guys. Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Funnel Trade.